Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Cody the Coin Raptor, and I'm here to bring you the latest Bitcoin and crypto chart TA. But before we get to that, be sure to smash that subscribe button to see my latest content and leave a like if you like this content and would like to see more. So, with our Bitcoin chart TA, what we have here is the hourly up right here. I've drawn in the upward part of this downwards channel and the downwards part of this downwards channel. And as we can see here, Bitcoin's been falling dramatically over the past couple of days. And right now, it's kind of, it looks like it's downtrending to stay within this channel. If you take a look at our RSI, our hourly RSI, we can see here that it's at about 55 or so. You have some significant resistance right now with Bitcoin. And the way it's looking right now is that Bitcoin is going to head lower, which, if you've been following any of my videos, you can definitely remember that I've talked about this many different times. And I do think that Bitcoin is still going to come back into that area below $16,000, or within my buy area, I should say, but it's going to come below that amount. And quite frankly, what we have here is we have a very strong downtrend in effect. But even if you zoom out to the daily, we can see that if you zoom out to the daily, that you have an even longer term downtrend that is still in effect for Bitcoin. And this started back, I would say, back here in August, where you have just this continued downtrend here from the August highs of about 25,000 all the way down here to the lows of about 15,600 or so back in November. Now, it's actually right in the middle of this daily downtrend, but I still expect that it's going to dump out the bottom here, and it's going to go back to those lows that we made back in November, right? It's going to retest this line here. So for I would say within the next couple of weeks, we're going to probably wind up seeing it retest that level at about 15,600. And then if it breaks through that level, we could see it even go lower down here to about 14,000 or so at the bottom of this downwards channel. So I think that's very possible. Now, if we go ahead and take a look at the Bitcoin funding rate, we can see that the longs have been dominant. And this is very unusual for Bitcoin. So the funding rate, just as a quick reminder, is going to give us an idea of either the shorts or the longs being dominant in perpetual contracts. And so what we have here is this green, as the longs are dominant, and the red, the shorts are dominant. And what they're doing essentially here is paying a premium to the long or the short position to maintain their position. So right now what you have is green. So the longs are paying a premium position to the shorts to make sure they can maintain their long position on the perpetual contracts. But what this is explaining to us here is that the longs have been dominant, and they've been dominant ever since the 19th of December. So with the last 10 days or so, there has been a massive stretch of these longs. And they've been longing even as the price goes down here, again, coming down from about 17,000 all the way back down to about 16,500. And it's been incredibly strong and incredibly consistent increase for the longs. And so I think this is going to probably set up still for the similar kind of bull trap that we've seen in the past. Because the reason for that is the longs are gaining dominance, right? But as I showed you here, we're in the middle of a downtrend. We're in the middle of an extreme downtrend right now. And if that's the case and the longs remain dominant, the longs can potentially get liquidated and push the price even further down. If we take a look at our Bitcoin liquidations, we've seen that in the past couple of days, the 26th and the 27th, you've had significant Bitcoin long liquidations. On the 26th, it was 8.5 million, and on the 27th, it was about 13 million or so Bitcoin longs being liquidated. So that's something that's been very interesting. I've been paying attention to this quite a bit because, quite frankly, it's a little unusual to see such strong long activity. I think this has to do a lot with the expiring contracts tomorrow. And this expiring contracts I've talked about multiple times, but there's a huge amount of expiring options contracts for Bitcoin and for Ethereum that's going to expire tomorrow. And that's something I'll probably wind up covering a little bit later. So what we also have here today is we have the Bitcoin price only up 0.54%. Meanwhile, we take a look at the NASDAQ, and the NASDAQ is up 2.6%. So there's a significant divergence between the Bitcoin price and the NASDAQ price, right? That doesn't usually happen. Normally, they move up kind of in sync with each other, and they're very highly correlated. They did a whole video about the correlation between Bitcoin and the NASDAQ. I definitely recommend you check that out. But the simple fact is, this means that either Bitcoin is undervalued right now and needs to go up, or the NASDAQ is overvalued and needs to come back down so they retain sort of parity with each other. So that's basically what I'm seeing today, and that's something that I think we're going to wind up seeing next week. Is we're actually probably going to wind up seeing the NASDAQ come down. I think that's much more likely. The NASDAQ comes down as opposed to Bitcoin rising to meet the NASDAQ price. Now let's go ahead and take a look at Ethereum as well. So with the Ethereum, we'll zoom in here a little bit here, and we can see for Ethereum, we have this downwards channel, just the same with Bitcoin. However, if you take a look at the RSI, it's a little bit different here, because RSI, now you have this increasing trend here. You have this series of higher lows, and now you form kind of an ascending triangle here. So what's going to happen is either it's going to break through the bottom of this ascending triangle, and the support's going to come back down, and then you're going to see even less momentum on the RSI, or else it's going to break through this resistance point here at about 59.60, and it's going to break to the upwards. And I do think that just like with Bitcoin, you're going to wind up seeing this pull back down as well. And one thing we could potentially see here for the price target is the bottom part of this channel here, which would be about 1174 in that range. And then if you go down even further, we can potentially see here at about 1161. And then I still have in here my buy zone target for Ethereum, which is about 1100 or so. And I do think it's going to wind up coming back into this area before too long. Okay, so that's something I'm watching out for. So let's go ahead and take a look at our Binance coin as well. So Binance coin, we go and zoom in here. We take a look at the hourly. Binance coin is a little bit different, in which you have the increasing price here. So you have a series of higher lows, and then on top of that, you have this massive overhead resistance at about 246, 250-ish in that region. And so something's got to give. Again, either this short-term trend, the short-term uptrend has to give, or else it'll break through this resistance level right here. And so if it dumps out the bottom, that's the complete elimination of this short-term trend. And most likely what we're going to see is a return back to these 240 prices, and even further below that at about 235, and maybe even below that here at about 220. So that's what you're looking at for your supports for the Binance coin price. If it breaks through this resistance level, what you're looking at is probably a retest of the resistance up here at about 250. 250 is a very strong psychological resistance level because it's a nice round number in this region. And if it breaks through that, what you're looking at is probably something in the range here of about 275. But I think that it's much more likely that we're going to wind up seeing it move down, just like with Bitcoin and just like with Ethereum, because the macroeconomic conditions right now are not very favorable to crypto, and will most likely not be very favorable to crypto for a little while. And I'm actually going to go ahead and put together all this stuff in a video of what I expect for the Bitcoin price in 2023. And that video will be coming out in a couple of weeks as I gather the data and I figure out how I want to weight it and the macroeconomic conditions and how those are all going to impact the price. But if you guys are interested in seeing that, definitely want to make sure that you hit the subscribe button, hit like. I would definitely greatly appreciate that. Follow me on Twitter as well. And so that's all I've got for you guys. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think that Bitcoin's either going to have to move up to match the NASDAQ, or do you think the NASDAQ's going to have to actually come down to match Bitcoin? I'm very curious what you guys have to think. All right. So that's all I've got for you guys today. Hope you have a fantastic day.